Welcome, Spark. So what kind of Spark are you? Player? Creator? Or both? The stories yet to be told. The games to be made. Civilizations and societies to be formed. The universe is waiting for you to bring it to life. Now, how do we begin?
Hey community, how's it going?
Hey guys.
Over here.
We got a hand and 3 people.
Yeah. Welcome to our Thursday stream. And today we're going to be talking about leaderboards.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So last stream I joined with, we kind of slipped up and showed an early version of that feature. Leaderboards is something we've wanted to bring forward for a while. And you know, it's something we've been thinking about. We know the community wants it. It's something we've been wanting to build. So we've been hard at work for the past couple months building this feature out, and it should be releasing soon.
Yep.
When it's ready, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, and we're talking weeks, not months away.
That's right. So I'm gonna go over just a couple of components of the feature, and Keith here is gonna do the same. So we're looking at a new version of Retro Reborn here. If I jump into the leaderboard view, no, this is a debug build, so there's some missing gamer tags and stuff. But
right.
For each level that has a leaderboard, you can go into UGC info and view the overall leaderboard. You'll be able to scroll and view the gamer tags of users that are in here. You'll be able to toggle from this standard world leaderboard view to a friends leaderboard. Ryan doesn't have any friends.
No.
No. You'll be able to switch between friends and world view, so we want to build a good competitive experience, not just between the world, but between friends as well. Let's see.
Who is number one? It's probably Chris Donsante.
It's probably me.
It is? Okay.
8 million.
It is probably Chris Donsante.
I think he's actually tried to play this game.
Could be.
I was told just to die a bunch of times.
Yeah. So we'll start by showing some of the stuff that you get as a result of just using leaderboards, one of which is the UGC screen here. The other is when you load a level, the loading screen itself will include the leaderboard. And this is going to show the top 10 entries as well.
I saw you in 20th place. That was pretty cool. Good job.
With 50 points?
Yeah.
Pretty legit, I gotta say.
So I'm going to play half-heartedly a bit here so we can get to the
when he says half-heartedly, he says...
You've already beat my...
He sucks at this
You've
game.
already beat my top
amazing.
score.
Normally I would get a billion, but for the purposes of science... Okay, so... in addition to the UGC info screen and the loading screen, players are going to be able to do some cool stuff with tiles to surface leaderboard data and to control their leaderboards, and Keith's going to kind of jump into that a bit more later.
What? Okay, yeah,
I am. So I'm going to go ahead and die here to kind of...
This is what Brian does best, just for running into things and dying.
Yeah,
Yep.
I should have handed the controller to him.
Yeah.
So here we go. So my score, awesome score of 2,000. When I die, the first thing you're gonna see is the score you just got, and then your best score. So whatever you have posted to the leaderboard currently, and then with code you can surface in session, end of session, what the current leaderboard is, what the last score you got was. There's a lot of freedom in how you can visualize this.
Yeah. So I didn't place in the top 10. It'll show you the top 10, and this is all UI that you can change however you want. This is not like it's kind of like, it's not like this is the view that you get. You actually get to set all of this UI yourself to make your own leaderboards in game look however you want them to look like.
But there might be a brain surprise, I think, in this pack.
Yeah, it might be cool.
Yeah,
that's
some
true.
surprises.
One of the things you can do is just name your leaderboard, and the default for this one is high score because of the type. But now that I've played, I could play again, or if I exit out, it will just take me back to that leaderboard view.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other things to note before I hand it off to Keith to show how to build this feature out. If you can reshare a world and add leaderboards to it, and even if you iterated on that, you'd have the option to keep the leaderboard data or reset it. So if you changed your world dramatically, or say you wanted to shift from the leaderboard showing score to something like time, or changing from ascending to descending, you could reset it so that the data makes a bit more sense. But yeah, that's just kind of a quick intro into how we're going to surface it in the play experience. And,
well, and Jeff, do you want to talk about sort of, this is something that we had as coming soon for a while, and I think it was something that a lot of people in the community just thought, well, I don't know if it's ever coming.
Yeah. So we did some work really early on in Project Spark. And I say really early on, I mean like 3 years ago, to build the foundation, kind of lay the foundation for this feature. So on the service side, we set ourselves up to be able to put it in. We absolutely have been planning to bring this feature in 100%. The time needed to be right, and now that we're seeing just insanely high quality levels being created by the community, the play experience is much more compelling and is a good stage for, you know, to add a level of competition. So the timing seemed right, and you know, community, you've been asking for it, so we built it.
And do you want to talk about how often these scores update?
Yeah, so every time you finish a session, it'll post the score to the leaderboard, but you're going to have a bit of freedom within the session itself to update the score. So for example, if you had a level where it was a racing game and you could do 10 laps, and you could have it take the best score out of those 10 laps and post it within the session, so that by the time you left the session, it would take the best score out of all of those. There's quite a bit of freedom. The author of the level gets to decide to some degree how frequently a score is posted. And of course we do a bit on our end to make sure that system isn't abused, so that it performs well for you and doesn't stall out. But yeah, I think it's coming together really nicely, and it'll be in the user's hands very soon. So
I saw a question up there. Is like, do you get more than one entry per gamer tag? And the answer to that is no. Like, you only get like one entry per level or leaderboard.
You get to decide, though.
Yes.
You can.
Yes,
yeah,
you do.
You can actually choose whether to post the best score for the user or post always.
Well, no, but that person still only gets one score.
Right. You want to have a leader.
Right.
You want to have a leaderboard with like 10 of the same users.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what he was asking.
But
okay.
But you get to choose basically like which of the scores to take.
Yeah.
Right.
Where like you show the person's top score or their most recent scores.
Exactly.
Right.
So
even if it's worse.
If you wanted to make a game that was just like really hard, where playing it was risking losing your old leaderboard entry, you know, you could make it that intense, and that you know, add that risk layer where jumping into play, you better have some confidence that you're going to beat your old score, and the author gets to decide that, which is cool. Yeah, we won't see some crazy skilled player filling up the entire leaderboard. It'll be one entry per user.
All right. So,
Blank World time.
Go to Blank World. Start from scratch. Then we'll look at. Oh man, look at those coins. Sweet. Okay, so let's do what I always do.
Wait. Don't.
Oh, okay.
There are props in there. We're in source.
Oh, right. All right, so
don't do what you always do.
Yeah, I know.
Don't do what I always do. Good thing you caught me, sir. All right, so first things first, and just a reminder that this is going to be like the tile org for this isn't completely finished yet, so it's kind of a preliminary version.
Yeah, Keith is our tile org guy on this pack.
Yeah. All right, so there's two main tiles that I'm going to talk about in reference to leaderboard. There's a few others that we'll go over, but the first is post score. And so what this does is it takes any number that you want to post as a score and actually posts it to the server. And you do that just by specifying. You can specify like 2. You can give it a literal, or you can, like, if you're keeping track of someone's score throughout the level, like you're incrementing it every time they collect something, you can just create a number variable called, let's see here,
I love how I just love the idea of you just make it so that no matter how well you do, you just post 2. So everyone posts a score of 2 to leaderboards.
You control the hell out of people.
Well,
it's going to be amazing. Like,
you can do there's some really funny trolling scenarios that we came up with from here.
That's why this is one of my favorite features, because I'm going to be able to troll people.
Yeah.
We're giving a crazy level of freedom to creators here. But I mean, it makes, if you want your level to be played competitively, you're gonna build it that way. So I think that level of freedom is totally appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you might be wondering, well, how does it know who to post the score for? And that is dependent on the object. So if you go into the object, I believe it's in here. So it takes whatever player is currently assigned to the object that you're posting score from and posts the score to the server for that player. So
this comes in handy with multiplayer.
Right.
Because you can do leaderboards with multiplayer.
Yep, absolutely.
So like all 4 of your players can be playing at the same time. They can all post their scores at the same time.
Right, and so if you had a multiplayer session with, and this was assigned to player 2, whoever's gamer tag and profile was associated with player 2, it would post that score of 2 to the server for them.
There's a good question there, which is what happens if I try to post a score 1,000 times, a frame. We do throttle that back a little bit, so the servers, of course, don't crash and the game doesn't crash. But we do cache that information. So if you're telling it to constantly post the score, so you're always capturing the user's score, it will cache that data, and then in an increment that we decide, which is quite frequent but reasonable. It'll post that, or at the end of the session, it'll look through that data and pull the top one and post it then. So we do have some defense for that. But
so you can't DDoS us.
Exactly. We did not set up a free DDoS.
Yeah. As much as we would have liked that.
But so the cool thing about this is basically you choose when a score is being posted to leaderboards.
That's right.
So you can have it. So you can. It's not automatically just gonna post a score. You're saying like post a score at this point or at this point. So if you're making a game with like checkpoints, you can say like only post score at these certain checkpoints.
And even then, if you're doing it every frame, it only posts like once every 30 seconds or something. Like that?
Right now it's around then. Yeah. Once every 30 seconds.
Like it starts. We have this like buffer and it builds up and it's like, okay, well, are any of these higher than what I've currently got? If so, yes, then I'll throw that out there.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to lose a score somewhere. So post score is pretty straightforward. It just wraps up like the score, the gamer pick, I believe the rank and the gamer tag of the player, and just shoots it off to the server and then automatically posts it to the leaderboard. The other tile we want to talk about is on the win side, and that is leaderboard high score. So what this does is this retrieves a leaderboard entry from this particular world's leaderboard. And computer science here, leaderboard entries are essentially classes or structs. They're collections of data, like your driver's license is a collection of like your name, your address, your height, your weight, eye color, stuff like that. Well, what makes up a leaderboard entry is the gamer tag, their score, their rank, and their gamer pick. And so it really helps to think of this thing and not as like just one set or one piece of data, but a collection of data. And you access each of those members of that data collection by using the leaderboard modifiers. And so if we wanted to get the players, again, this retrieves it for, by default, the player assigned to this object. So if this is player 2's, we could say, okay, well, when player's 2's score is like less than or greater than 100, or let's just say 2.
Okay,
Never mind.
I was going to type it.
And then we could just do something like, at that point, we could post a score. So this is one way that you can control the use of post score. So. Yeah, it's really like it's a little tough to. We don't really have tiles like this in terms of like we've never. I don't know if we really ever had like a tile that represents a collection of data before.
Yeah, and it's also
I mean, we have like player and object sets and stuff like that, but nothing really like.
And there are also tiles that talk with our services, which are that's a very new idea. Like you're actually talking with our services and our data that our services are collecting, and you're able to pull it outwards. And I guess we should talk about the index. I saw some people asking questions about like the index. How many things can you index through?
Right now I believe it's 10.
Yeah.
Right now it's 10 in a session. Yeah. And that's something we can move. It's interesting. Most of you know me as a services producer, and I started, of course, doing just the services side of this. But Keith's 100% right. This was a big jump for this feature, where we have basically a structure or a table on the service that we're giving players the freedom to manipulate and surface however they want. And that way, it's really unique from any other pack. And I think there's a lot of or any other feature. There's a lot of different ways that you could use use the leaderboard feature to tell cool stories. Build a horror game and see how long who can watch the longest, or
because we haven't even talked about time yet.
No, we haven't talked about time. But I mean, you have the control. You can make a golf game, and have it sort by descending instead of ascending, because you want the lowest score, surface at the top.
I would highly recommend everybody
do this.
Put this line of code in every single level that you have.
So basically, I will never be able to get a score on your level.
Yep. So you control people. Again, that's one of my things. If you compare the player's gamer tag equal to Brian TD, you can just post score 0 all the time.
You've just told them the
everybody
the easiest
sure
trolling
to add that
to do stuff.
Don't do it to anyone else, just to Brian.
I mean, you can do this to other people, but no one's gonna play your level because that's just me.
I know. Yeah. When kind of this initial rollout of it, we're looking at right now. You can pull into your game the top 10. There had to be some limit that we initially came up with. As Jeff is saying, we could definitely look at that later. But we want to look at world properties.
Yeah, let's look at the world properties before we check out the time tiles.
Mm-hmm.
So right here at the bottom is that fancy schmancy leaderboard. And so by default, it's going to be flipped to none. And so in order to turn leaderboards on in your level, you just toggle right, and the first one is high score. So what that means is it's going to be looking for the highest score possible in a level. And if you flip it one more time, it's going to be looking for the lowest score. So if you have like a puzzle game, like for instance Anti-Smasher, where it's like the fewest number of moves is what you're going for, you want to go with like the lowest score in that case. And same thing with fastest time and longest time. Mm-hmm. So, and then right here is where you can switch from always post the score type if it's better, or just do it all the time.
Yeah.
And you can actually name your leaderboard.
Someone was asking questions about that. And the name is given on the load screen. Mm-hmm. So on the load screen, it'll say whatever name you give your leaderboard, it's going to say that.
Yep, as well as the UGC info screen. So if you wanted to, if you're building a game that's got a more complex scoring system, or maybe isn't as obvious as what it represents, you can name it something so that it's clear, like death count, or for most checkpoints cleared or something like that. You can surface that name so that everyone knows exactly what they're looking at.
Yeah. And then so for time style, what this does is you can flip between a standard display of time with like colons, and then like a decimal point between like the seconds and milliseconds, or you can go to more of a racing style that has apostrophe and then a quote between minutes and seconds and milliseconds. So down here, you can specify the range that you want your leaderboard time to display in. So say you just have a game and you don't want it to display any more than like minutes.
I really want to see someone make a game that only displays days. And so see
and longest time.
Yeah, just see who's able to get 1 or like 2 days in there.
We were impressive enough. We were able to get this to, as you can see now, count milliseconds.
Yeah.
Which is no easy challenge in any game.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it actually counts down to the millisecond. So.
Yeah, so and then you can go from minutes down to milliseconds, or we can go down to seconds, or we can go down to like just display in minutes, and then rounds that down. It like will truncate off the seconds and stuff. So I think that's about it for the world properties.
Yeah.
Do you want to show the time stuff in the code?
There's for this build, this stuff's it's kind of an older version, so
it doesn't have the time stuff in this version.
It has. We can show a couple things, but just take it with a grain of salt. We've made some changes here, so for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just put this in as, let's see, 5.7.
Yeah. That's a good question from chat. Are you able to like call like another level's leaderboard data?
So that's a really good question. So for the first iteration of this feature, for level linking and for reaching across levels, you're not going to be able to pull that data. So you're going to have an individual leaderboard for each section. As far as down the road, we're going to kind of watch and wait. If we see people that are building levels across that are linked and end up with one cohesive story, and they're not able to get the leaderboard experience they want by plugging that into the final level in the link, then we'll react to that as needed. But so far as we can tell, with the tiles we're adding now and the world properties, you can pretty much build any leaderboard experience you could imagine. It's pretty strong.
So one of the other things you're getting with this pack is the ability to start displaying numbers as time values. So before I had in this brain, one score equals 12,578. And then in game, it displays it as 12,578. But we have this new tile that you can stick on the end called as time. And what that does, as time always treats the number preceding it as being in seconds. So it then converts it automatically to 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 38 seconds.
So no heavy lifting on the user's part to do the math here. It just is intelligent and converts it.
That's so nice.
And if you want to, we can we have some time modifiers. So we can just display it in minutes total. Like how many minutes would this be? 209 minutes, rounded down.
Mm.
Or
Nanoseconds.
we could increase the precision.
Let's see. Right.
And go from, let's say, from days down to milliseconds. And then it'll display 0 days, 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 38 seconds.
You'll notice it goes 3 decimal points down into
the milliseconds.
Yep. Yeah, so and you do have some control there over that, so it's
also
awesome.
have a couple different styles that we can do. So we can either, like the display for the UGC screen, we can display it in racing style with like the quote and the double quotes, or we can actually go to a 12-hour clock and it'll display it in AM or PM. And once it goes past 12:59 or 11:59 and hits 12, it'll flip that AM and PM.
Wow! So you can basically use this code to make really nice time in your game.
Yeah.
Not even worry about adding it to leaderboards. It's just you have a great way to show time.
Thoughts of like a survival game like that takes place over the course of 24 hours. You could see.
Oh no! I think you just have to hit space. There we go.
So, if you wanted to say, what point of the day did you make it to? Not even for leaderboards, just be able to surface that and say, you lived for X hours, you made it to 2:30 p.m. You can use those tiles to do that, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Can you type in time?
Yeah. I got it. Also, I saw a question in chat. Can you post more than one score in your leaderboard? And leaderboards have one column for scores, so you can take as many numbers and things as you want, but you have to output a final score that would display. So you can have like for instance, if you have deaths and kills, you can say combine those together, and like you take the deaths and you say like deaths is like times 10 minus kills times 5 equals your final score, and that kind of outputs the final score. So you'll have to combine that all into one final package number that displays on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So Keith and I actually have to jump out to do some work on this very feature, but before we do that, I do want to mention that we are working on taking some cool games that we have already and adding leaderboards to them, so that when this feature releases, we're going to have some of the more popular levels that are out there already with leaderboards added to them. So you can use that to reverse engineer, and there'll also be good play experiences, competitive play experiences right out of the gate. So.
One thing I just want to mention real quick before we go is like when I was first messing around with this, like it might trip you up, but you can just make like yourself a really quick clock by incrementing a variable by 1 every frame, but you have to remember to divide it by 30 because there's 30 frames in a second. If you just display this as time, it's going to be really weird. It's going to be like 2 seconds for every 1 second because 60.
Yep.
30 and whatnot. So yeah, as long as you just divide that by 30 and then display it, you can get yourself a nice...
What's the largest possible score? I don't know. We had a score of 600 million.
We've gone over billions at this point. It's pretty big. Yeah, I have to check what the cap is, but it's pretty large. But I will say it's been a lot of fun making this feature. I think we're all crazy excited about the way it's coming together, and really excited to get it out there and share it with you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait to see people's the competition this fosters and levels and whatnot.
But thanks for hearing us out on this quick explanation, and sorry that we gotta jump out, but we gotta make this feature right.
I know, and the last thing, we'll keep this one short. The last thing we'll tease people with that we'll show off next week. You're not just getting leaderboards. This is a pack. What that means is, fire it up. You're gonna get some props. We're gonna talk about those next week too.
Yes, and I believe Mikhail and Mr. Stagnita are gonna be in here joining you guys
on Tuesday.
Yes. Yeah. Stagnita, the most elusive of creatures.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Take it easy, guys. See ya.
Yeah. So. We'll talk a lot more about. Oh, you got rid of it. We'll talk a lot more about this stuff.
Oh, so they
next
can see
week.
them leaving. I put it off.
We'll talk a lot more about this stuff next week. Just the stuff that's in this pack. There's an interesting surprise in here that we'll show off, and we'll explain how to really utilize that to make some other really cool stuff inside of Project Spark. So we have that. That's going to come with leaderboards, and that is going to come out when it's ready.
We
don't want to give a date because we want to. We are very close to having it finalized, and then shortly after that, it's going to roll out. But we want to make sure that we get it to the nice final state where it does have all the things that we know it needs to have for version 1 of leaderboards. Yeah.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited actually for the stuff that we're going to talk about next week in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of that stuff. But I'm really excited about the fact that creating before this leaderboards feature, creating time and incrementing time was really hard. Because I wanted to always display milliseconds, and it was really hard. Mm-hmm. And now it's going to be so much easier for me. Keith created this in 3 lines of code. Before, I remember Word Andrew and I, back when I was still in the community, we did a whole page of many lines of code to get displaying milliseconds and seconds, having those increasing properly. So now you just have modifiers that'll just increase it properly for you. So, as Keith alluded to, because this pack has, we started talking through the code, but there's so much you can do with the code. There's so many cool things you can do. We only really just started to scratch the surface of interesting things you can build. we are going to, next Tuesday, 12 p.m. PST, it'll be on YouTube also afterwards. We're going to have on 2 people from our design team, Mikhail and Stagnita, and the 2 of them are going to walk you through how to make a game with leaderboards. They're going to walk you through all the steps to making your game with leaderboards, showing how to post the score, how to look for scores, and then how to actually create your own in-game leaderboard screen. They're going to talk you through how you can display gamer pics of people and gamer tags of people and their ordering and things like that. And then the week after that, we're going to show off how to make a timed version type leaderboards game. So next week we'll show off a score-based leaderboard type game. The week after we're going to show off how to make a time-based game. And those are the 2 basic modes, but there's so many different things you can do with leaderboards. There's so much stuff you could actually do though with this data that isn't even related to leaderboards. I think I saw some people like talking about, oh, well, if we can get that kind of information, that could mean this or that.
It's like the first time, right, that you can pull data from like other people's play experiences back into the world and like use them to change things happening. So you can do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool, especially like finally being able to pull in gamer pics and utilizing those in interesting ways. I'm sure we'll see some very interesting uses of that. Like, it'd be so funny if like someone goes through all the effort of
making like
10 accounts with custom icons they want to put in the game and like using those.
I thought about it.
Yeah,
I just thought of like a gamer pic like little like battle arena. These like gamer pics.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna be streaming for just 5 more minutes to answer any questions you guys have.
Yeah, I do actually. I forgot my list, but we're gonna announce the winners of the champion challenge.
Oh,
so I have to go grab that actually.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that can extend the stream by a little bit of time.
Yeah. So while you do that, let me think of some other questions people might have here. So you can pull in the top 10 gamer scores. You'll be able to pull all that stuff in, as well as look at what your current gamer score is, compare that with those. So Zach and I have been looking at sort of how you could use those scores to do interesting thing with comparing and matching people, changing the actually how a game works based on how people have scored on it so far. When you're able to pull scores dynamically happening and read that back into your world, then you can do some interesting things with that. Let's see. What other questions do you guys have for us about leaderboards? What were the ones that we missed while you guys were asking? I know you guys were shooting off a lot of questions earlier on. We're trying to get through all of them. Will there be a competitive game feed? We do plan to have a feed that showcases a bunch of leaderboard type games. Yeah, so that is definitely planned. We will also be releasing. We're looking at 3 or so of Team Dakota's past creations. We'll have leaderboards added onto them day 1, so you'll be able to look into those and see how we did that. Can you change colors and styles? So the great thing of when you're displaying leaderboards in your game, we made it so that you can customize that just like you can customize any other UI, meaning you can choose however you want to display it. You can have whatever colors you want to use, however you want to display the text. That's all up to you in game.
Yeah, you have a lot of control like over the actual UI, which is great.
Outside of your game, in like the UGC load screen, those will be standardized for everybody. But in your game, you'll be able to choose. Is it only the top 10, or does it track everyone who plays? So we do track, and we do track the scores for everyone who plays. But currently, you'll only be able to pull into your game and compare your score with top 10. And we had to look at kind of a limit, an initial limit. We were exploring sort of what we can increase that limit to for comparing your score with a bunch of other people out there. Mm-hmm. And can you access each of the top 10 scores and gamer tags, or just number 1? You can access all of them.
or the top 10, right?
Yeah, and friends, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, we do allow you to show and filter on the UGC screen between everyone who's played that world or just people in your friends list, so you can have like an ongoing match with all your friends, see how they're doing. I know that made me extra competitive when I saw Chris Dansante. I mean, crush me.
Crush everyone.
Yeah.
By just a few million.
Yeah. I'll have to check about how friends work. I'm not actually sure the answer to that question about bringing in top 10 friends.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Cool.
we got this community challenge.
That's
thing going
right.
on.
So for those who don't know, there was a community, like one of those unofficial community challenges that are going on right now, and voting just concluded like late last week, and the results are in, and it's the champion challenge that Ian Withers put together. So he put it out there for people to make their own custom champions, and there were 17 different entries. They were all really cool. I played through most of them, I think. I didn't get a chance to actually vote. Did you vote?
No, I didn't actually vote. I didn't.
We're so bad. Yeah.
Well, I thought that it would be bad for me to vote.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my excuse then too. We as TD we need to stay impartial.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're on an internal build, so we can't actually play these or look at them. But I can. I'm gonna share the top.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But I can share the top 3 with you. So in third place was Champions Challenge by Kill and Joke. So awesome. I didn't play that one, so I'm not sure which champion that is, and you call it Champions Challenge.
I don't know.
Did you play that one?
I mean, I played them all, but I forget which one.
That one is?
Yeah, because I forget which champion was in there.
Yeah.
Or was that the one with multiple champions? Oh, I forget. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back.
It might have been the multiple one.
Yeah.
So number 2 was Condor by Sphinx.
Oh yeah, that one was really cool.
And number 1 was Brewmaster Sven.
Yeah, actually, Brewmaster Sven. We actually reviewed that one as a team.
Yeah, we did. We saw that.
And when we were just like, how did he do those? The mustache. And when we realized it was Squirrel Tails, it was even better.
Yeah. So there's those top 3. Congratulations to you guys. We'll be sharing doing the 1,000 credits out for everybody who participated.
Actually, that was already done.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
After everybody got their entries in?
Yep. After all entries were put in, everyone was already granted their 1,000 credits. We're on top of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we're not going to show the props that are coming with this pack today. That will be shown at a later time, e.g. next week.
Although if you're wanted that art that we showed earlier, you can be.
Yeah, you can get a good idea of the props that will be in there. That is true. It's very true. So yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and end it there, guys. Check in 11 a.m. tomorrow, where we're going to be playing a bunch of really cool community creations that have come in this past week. Then definitely make sure to tune into, or if you can't because you have work and I guess people have to work, then watch YouTube version of our stream next Tuesday, where we will specifically be doing a tutorial on how to make your own leaderboards game. This will be the quintessential tutorial to look at when we launch leaderboards. Of if you don't right off the bat know how to make your own game using leaderboards, then you just look at that handy dandy tutorial and that'll explain everything for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so everybody will be ready to go, and on release day, boom, put their leaderboards up.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, the good folks at project-spark.org are running their own little contest.
That's right.
We thought it was a cool enough contest that we decided to give a few prizes towards it. So the staff at project-spark.org is running a challenge for making your own leaderboards game, and I believe they are requiring or strongly encouraging collaborations. And
it's required.
Okay.
Yep.
And
2
then
or 3 people.
The top entry, everybody there will get leaderboards day one for free.
And some credits, I think, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, and the big lump of credits, 50,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like 50,000, I think, credits for everybody. Top. So it's just a extra incentive for you to, for the people to make some scoring games, or a lot of people made some awesome arcade games. Once Leaderboard launches, you'll be able to pretty easily plug Leaderboards in there and start having competition. I gotta tell you, we were just us testing internally. There's a psychological need to replay when you have a lower score. It's really interesting.
Yep.
Retro Reborn, I played that. It's out there currently, so a lot of people play that, and I played that. But when scoring was involved, and I could actually see the fact that, oh man, I was almost in the top 10, that made me really want to play again.
It really changes the dynamic. Can't wait.
It honestly is just for people making your game extra sticky, and for people coming back to play. It really hooks you in. You really want to come back and see if you can do better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, we are going to end it off there, and catch us next week for a lot more on the Leaderboards pack, which is that's what's next in Project Spark.
Yep.
It's coming very shortly. All right, guys. Thanks. We'll see some of you tomorrow for our stream.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Oh, wait. Go to outro. There we go. Yeah.
Create your game as you play? Any Spark can do it. Spark, activate the portals.